So I was watching the movie Moana. I think it's from 2017 or something. It's an awesome movie. It's like super laden with very profound mystical symbolism, returning the heart of the earth and restoring life to a barren land, and this transformation of this lava volcano demon into this literal embodiment of Mother Earth and the life of the planet. And I was noticing how the design of this earth goddess, Tefiti, is very much bears an uncanny resemblance to Moana, the protagonist of the story. And I was reminded of how in another Disney movie, I believe it's Disney, might be DreamWorks, The Prince of Egypt, another super spiritual movie. This one obviously being inspired by a literal spiritual text. I was reminded how in that movie, The Prince of Egypt, the actor who voices Moses, the protagonist, also voices God in that film. And so there was that correlation that I noticed there between the main character and then the mythical sort of symbolic representation of a deity in that story, and how there's that sort of resemblance there, whether it's through the face or through the voice. And it kind of reminded me of this idea that I have sort of entertained for a while, and it's an idea that I find immense resonance. And that's the idea that we are baby gods. Now, what do I mean by that? It feels like such a loaded phrase. Picture a beehive. And in this beehive, there's a queen, there are workers, and there are larvae. And the structure of the beehive, those hexagonal sort of modules that form the structure of the honeycomb, those are housings for these tiny little bee larvae. And they look nothing like bees. They're little wriggly worms. They don't have wings or stingers or anything like that. They can't make honey, but they will one day. They are tended to and fed and nurtured by the workers of the hive until they undergo their metamorphosis and become the next generation of workers who will raise the next generation of workers. There's something to this. It's the same sort of realization that one comes to through the use of psychedelics, and also just through the consumption of various religious, mythological, and spiritual traditions of human history. If you look at indigenous art, specifically Coast Salish art, which is the art that came from the region, the place where I am now, you will see this these motifs of, it's hard to describe because it's so beautiful and evocative of this transcendent thing. But I can describe it as the domains of nature as in water, wind, the sun, the flora, the fauna, appear to all embrace each other and be sort of fluidly molding and sculpting each other. Everything has eyes. Sort of this. It evokes this feeling of consciousness permeating everything, which obviously is an ancient and sort of widespread esoteric concept, which I think is quite almost undeniable. If you've ever heard of the story The Egg by Andy Weir, there's a really great animated depiction of it on a YouTube channel, Kurzgesagt, I think is how you pronounce it. But basically in the story, the narrative follows this man after his death in a horrific car accident. And he ends up in this place talking to God, this sort of in-between. He's no longer alive, but he's not in heaven. And basically what this God figure tells him is that in the simplest terms, reincarnation is real. He will be reborn again. But not just this. He will be reborn again and again until he has experienced every single human life throughout all time. And with this dawns the realization that he is everyone. Not him per se as in this avatar that he's lived as for the past 40 years or however long this one life was, but he as in the consciousness itself, inhabiting and animating that avatar, that incarnation. And so he sort of has this cosmic epiphany. Wow, I am everyone. And then he asks why? What's the point? Why just live again and again and again? And God says, I made this whole universe so you would grow. With every life, you mature, you develop, your consciousness expands. And one day, after you have experienced every single human life throughout all of history, you will be born. Because the universe itself is an egg, and you are a fetus. One day, you will be like me, is what God says. Yes, I come from somewhere. Yes, there are others like me, but you wouldn't understand. You're too young. It would be like a larva trying to understand, gathering pollen, rolling fields of dandelions, tulips. It is incomprehensible to a being at that level of consciousness. I think the more time you spend in nature, with yourself, the more you see that everything is alive. Everything is alive. It's all animated by the same force. Call it energy. I mean, that's what it is. It is energy. It comes from the sun. transformed into chemical energy that can be used by life. It flows through everything. It flows through the roots, through the branches, through us. When we eat, when we die, it moves, it flows. And everything, every single living thing, from the tiniest amoeba to the gods themselves, are a part of this process. This cosmic unfolding in which we grow, we mature. Like the way an acorn sprouts into a sapling, which given time matures into the mighty oak. Strong, sturdy, so different from what it once was in its humble beginning stages. And yet, it was destined for that from that beginning, from the very beginning. That acorn fell off a tree. It is the offspring. That's what we are. We're the offspring of the universe itself. Growing, maturing, developing, awakening more and more every day to the realization of this very fact in and of itself, the realization that we are family. Literally, we are cousins, distant cousins, related through a common ancestor, and ultimately, every single thing is related to one common ancestor, and that ancestor, well, it's an unknown, it's a mystery, but it's undeniable. We all come from the same source. A wellspring of creation, invisible but ever present within us and around us. It's that cosmic realization that I think propels us onward. Because there's moments of triumph and there's moments of struggle. But when you really, really look at it, when you really understand what those are, the moments of struggle are trials. And they strengthen us. They strengthen our very being. Like ourselves. And the moments of triumph are moments of clarity. Like this one, more than likely, in which you can see through the many layers of this cosmic holarchy, and your vision pierces through to the beyond, and you see that we are all chosen. We're the children of the void, man. Understanding what that means is profound. And I don't even understand what it means fully, clearly. I'm a larva just like you. But I know that it's insane. This realization, this understanding is like the royal jelly that is fed to us by our caretakers. That sustains us and allows us to grow into our full potential. And what that full potential is beyond our comprehension. But it is beautiful. That much I know. And you must know it too. If these words resonate in any kind of way, it's because something about them is reminding you of what you are, of who you are. And it's awakening that in you. So yeah, just keep that in mind as you move through this reality, as you interact with your fellow larvae in this hive. Remember that even if we can't see the grand purpose of it all in the moment, doesn't mean that that grand purpose isn't there. And the only thing we really can do is just to treat people with love and kindness. Just spread this awareness as much we can. And that's it. There's not really anything else to it besides everything. So just enjoy it.